Endless Hustle is presented by Eat Clean Bro, a convenient solution to bring you the highest quality chef-prepared meals delivered right to your door. Eat Clean Bro is the contract-free solution for your meal prep needs. Made with all-natural ingredients and next-day delivery, every meal feels like you have someone cooking for you right at home. All right, we got an NFL-sized day on the Endless Hustle because I got a man who's pretty busy between being a star running back for the I was about to say San Diego Chargers. The mind still hasn't shifted. LA Chargers. He's got his own weekly fantasy football series, giving away jerseys. Austin Ekeler, you're doing it all.
What's going on, Arthur? I appreciate you having me on, man.
I loved, by the way, how you switched angles right as I started introducing you. I'm like, I'm dealing with a pro here. I love it. You got the whole video game professional streaming setup. I'm like, let's party. Let's do it.
Hey, I'm ready to connect, man.
Let's start with your first. I want to start with your fantasy football show because you've got this show with Yahoo Sports, which I think is awesome. And it's a perfect example of athletes who are not just athletes anymore. You guys are doing, and girls are doing so much off the field and off the court. And this is a perfect example. Tell me all about the show.
Yeah, so didn't really realize the importance of fantasy football until about my third year in the league. And then realized that, hey, there's a huge platform out there with fantasy football, and another way that, people can, recognize us and have us, benefiting their fantasy football team. But more than that, for us, as players, is like, get to know us, like get interested in us, like look into us, watch us play. So I was like, let me look into this a little bit. And I started getting recognized more as, hey, you're on my fantasy team, instead of, hey, I know you play for the Chargers. So I was like, all right. So I started looking into it, started my own league last year, and just really have been embracing the community aspect of fantasy football. I love what it does for the game. I think it, brings more people to the game, brings them more in depth too, as far as how they look into the game and watching players from different teams. And I love that, right? It allows the community to kind of share interest from different teams because of the players. And so with Yahoo Sports, I'm like, I want to get back to this community. I love giving back to the community, whether it's through my foundation, whether it's with Yahoo. So I was like, let's give myself a little bit of my time, my knowledge, answer some questions in the fantasy world for me while I'm still playing, right? While I'm more relevant in the fantasy stream. Instead of talking about it after, I was like, let's do it now. Let's connect and let's try to make some cool content.
So here's the thing, and I've always wondered this. Obviously, first of all, the whole how fantasy football is blown up, even in the last 5 years, has blown my fucking mind. I'm just like, holy shit, what's happened here? I'm a football fanatic, but I know that if I dive into fantasy football, forget it. Like, no one's going to ever see me. I'll be in a wormhole for the next 6 months. Right. That being said, we always hear, I watch ESPN and we hear all these experts, but to actually have someone in the game, you're friends with players, you're on a team. I mean, you have insight that probably none of us can imagine. You can probably watch film and be like, yeah, Saquon doesn't look like Saquon there. Or, Herbert, his arms hurt. I mean, you have the insight that none of us do. So how much does that actually give you an advantage in fantasy football and being able to talk about it?
I mean, obviously it gives me somewhat of an advantage. Just knowing players, like having connections with them. Like I could, text up, Raheem Mostert and be like, hey bro, how you feeling this week? I'm not going into that deep with fantasy football with Yahoo. It's going to be from like a top down perspective, just as what I think about situations. But yeah, obviously being in it, it's almost like kind of like insider, right? That's why we're not allowed to like bet and stuff like that on it, right? The integrity of the game. So I just do it for fun, just to really embrace and just connect with those people that are actually out there playing, which is a lot of people, right? So I feel like, as players, that it's in our benefit to connect with these types of people, because especially if you're on their team, like they're like, hey, yeah, talk to me. What do you got? Like when I was streaming last year on Twitch during the season, because we had a little bit more free time because of COVID shutdowns, people would ask me all the time, like, how are you feeling this week? I give them a little rundown. I'd be like, I'm feeling good going in this week. Or then I had my injury and I'm talking about my recovery. So there's just so many different aspects as far as just players and individuals, how we can connect and like provide people value that they're really looking to find from us. And then also while we're doing that, tell them a little bit and they can learn a bit about ourselves as actual people too.
I have so much I want to unpack here. Number one, there's always secrecy with the NFL. I mean, look at Belichick. That guy's running the CIA over there, right? So when you're on Twitch, and I guess I'll give a nice plug here, you're the number one Twitch player in the NFL, right? Like you're the number one.
I would say Twitch streamer, right? I'm getting up there as far as connecting, building a platform. Yeah.
how do the Chargers not say, Austin, you cannot talk about this shit while you're on Twitch? Like, how do you walk the line of what you're able to talk about and not able to talk about?
So I've had a lot of practice, a lot of interviews, and just, had a lot of just insight from people that have been telling me, like on my team, for instance, like, hey, you shouldn't say this or don't say that. Right. So I've getting to a point where now I'm using, media outlets, podcasts as a tool, right? It's really what it is a tool. And it's like, okay, you have to make sure what you say you can back up. So as far as what I'm talking about, this is things that I would talk about publicly to anybody in any, setting, even talking about my injury, that's sensitive information. I'm talking about, I think about this many weeks out, stuff like that. Like that's stuff that, you're not going to get unless you come talk to me directly. Cause the Chargers, they can't talk about that stuff unless I give them permission. So there's a line, right? You don't want to cross it. You don't want to give too much information. As long as it's talking about me, then I'm all good.
How excited are you to enter SoFi and to play at SoFi right now?
Right now, see, this is where people get, they forget we played there a whole year last year, so I've been in the stadium, but it's different right now because we have the energy. Now I'm feeling the energy, even with these couple preseason games that we've had, just hearing the crowd. Like we've had pretty good turnouts for our preseason games, even though it's, been, not a regular season. But just feeling like times where it gets loud, I'm like, okay, this place is special. This place can hold some people and get some volume going. And just the place itself is like a piece of art, right? The campus that it's on, what they're doing, they're still building right now, but just the stadium alone is very, very just gorgeous in itself.
Yeah, I'm dying to see it. I haven't seen SoFi yet, but everything I'm seeing from pictures and video, I'm like, this place looks like forget Kanye housing at Mercedes-Benz. He should be housing at SoFi. He picked the wrong stadium to find a concrete locker to sleep in.
Right.
So how much does that impact you? Obviously, you're talking about the crowds, and that's what I meant when I talked about SoFi. You guys are going to finally, hopefully, get to be in front of crowds, assuming Delta doesn't screw everything up. But for a player, how does that energy change? We always hear about momentum. We hear about, the momentum shifting, but how much does that actually impact you guys on the field?
As far as like actual playing, I would say it really doesn't impact us unless it's like somewhere where it's actually so loud that we have to use silent count. Like that's the only, I feel like, really changed. As far as like the energy, say it's like loud, but we can still use our regular counts and stuff, especially if we go to away games, then it's like, it's the effect is more internal for me. Like for me, I just like to feel the energy, whether I'm getting booed coming out of the tunnel or I'm getting cheered for. I'm just like, yes, like here we go. NFL game about to play, get the full effect, crowds here, love it. And last year it was just, it felt like we were practicing almost. Like we'd score touchdown and the other team would score touchdown. Usually it's like there's a lot of commotion and it's just like, all right, here we go. Like cool. Like, yeah, it just took away from the experience, that we're so used to. And it just made me just appreciate the fans that much more. That's what helped me spark like doing all this stuff to connect with people, because I'm like, wow, I really appreciate all of you that support me and support this league, because it's given me a platform and a lifestyle that I am absolutely in love with, and I would continue to do this. So I'm just like, thank you everybody, and whatever I can do, I'm gonna say thank you. I'm gonna give away jerseys, I'm gonna give podcast, like get me in front of you guys. Thank you so much.
So how much does it impact you? Like a big play happens, the stadium is roaring, you come back in the huddle. Can you guys actually feel it? I mean, is there an energy, like, is there something tangible happening at that moment that increases performance?
I would say so, because I would say confidence is, something that affects you. And obviously we're human as well. So we feel emotions. We feel when people are for us or against us, whether it's a crowd or even our own teammates, and that affects us somehow. Whether it's confidence, whether it's, just the way we're responding to each other, our communication. I can't put a tangible thing like this is what it is, but definitely has an effect on us, just because it's an emotional game. There's a lot of emotion that plays into the game. You got to be able to control those. That's part of being a pro, right? How do you either use it or either block it out. But either way, you have to deal with it, right? And we all deal with it in different ways. Some people are big on the hype, or some people are big like, hey, stuff's going bad, and they start yelling. Some people everyone's always different. For me, I'm level-headed. I'm like, regardless, I want people making noise. If they're booing or whatever, like, let's stay locked in. Just give me that energy. Give it to me.
I want to talk to you about Justin, because I don't think anyone could have predicted that kid would do what he did in that first year. I mean, everyone knew he was talented, but the kid looked like he'd been in the NFL for 14 years last year. At what point for you guys do you realize that he's as good as he is?
I think it took a couple weeks just to see if it was legit. I think a couple good games here and there. That's great. All right, let's see if he can do it for a whole season. And he came out and he showed his potential. Right, he showed that he can run. With something with Philip that we were used to seeing. With the Chargers. We have a quarterback that can move around the pocket and not only do that, but he can throw the ball while he's on the run. He can make good decisions, right? And his arm strength is definitely there. And so, just with time, it's going to give him more confidence in his game. Now he knows he's coming in as a starter. He's got a lot of eyes, a lot of pressure on him. I know he's going to take it well. He has been so far. And he's up for the challenge. So I'm really excited to see, this next year, right? Yeah. At the beginning, it was like, you know what? Justin's going in. All right. We're like, all right, let's see how the young kid does. Now everyone's like, hey, Justin, you're the man. Let's do it. So I'm looking forward to backing him up and making some plays for him and just solidifying that he's a real deal.
How good do you think he can be if you were to comp him against someone who we would either consider an all-pro or a legend at this point? Who's his comp?
Who is his comp? See, I almost want to say Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron, that's a big shoes to fill right there. But he's so young right now. I'm just saying like how just he can move around. But Aaron might have been a little bit more shifty than he is. Almost like Josh Allen too. Josh Allen's still kind of young, but been doing some good things. I don't know. I think he's unique because he's so big. He's so big. He's 6'4", and he's not scared to run through people yet. Maybe he hasn't got hit hard enough yet for him to realize, oh yeah, I shouldn't do that. Which every time he gets hit, man, I was like, Justin, stop taking hits, you knucklehead. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's pathing his own way because I can't say Mahomes because I feel like we're seeing this era of new mobile quarterbacks, but they're all mobile in different ways. So we'll see.
Yeah,
he's paving his own way.
These guys are so good right now. It's ridiculous. It really is. When you see Mahomes and Allen, and it really is. It's a combination and a hybrid unlike anything we've ever seen before.
Mm-hmm.
You'd mentioned taking hits, and I've always wanted to talk to a running back about this. We'll always hear about a running back getting overused and taking too many hits. And then at some point, they hit a wall, and essentially they're never the same again. What does that actually mean? As a running back yourself, do you feel the hits accumulating? Is it like, all right, I had 28 carries this week, I hurt more? What does it actually mean when you're taking too many hits? And how does your body change to where you eventually, a running back could say, I've hit the wall, and they're never the same again?
Yeah. Well, as you see it on TV, we're getting hit. And guess what? Getting hit, whether you have pads on or not, it still hurts, right? Like this stuff hurts, right? And it accumulates, especially, what type of body you are. It accumulates differently. Like for me, like I've already publicly came out and said, like, look, I'm not gonna be able to take every single running back rep for 17 games in a regular season. Like my body will not last. Like I'm not built like that. So that's why I told Chard, like, look, you got to get someone that we can split with. Like that's how my body's been coming up. That's how I've had the most success too. But yeah, so after games, man, yeah, even after we had a couple of joint practices with the 49ers before we played them, I'm just like, dang, like getting those hits back, right? Feeling sore, it's a good feeling too. Cause I'm like, yeah, football's back and I've been doing it for years now. So I kind of love it. I'm a little crazy. So I go out there, every fall. But yeah, the wall it hits us differently too, whether it's through injuries, whether it's through age, and now you're just not as fast, don't have it like you used to, because you kind of see it as you get older. Like I'm not as fast as I was when I first got into the league, and now I see these young guys coming in and they're blazing, and so we have to continue to compete with these younger guys coming in. I say I'm younger, but I'm only 26, but I've been in the league 5 years, so I feel old. But there's always just new fresh legs coming, is what we like to call it. We got some fresh legs coming. And it's always about, keeping up with the young guys and, showing that, hey, even though, you might not be the same player you were when you were that young, maybe you are better, but for the most time running backs, we have usually the shortest career, is showing that, hey, you can still be productive.
So do you actually feel that happening physically? You'll actually feel where you may have lost half a step and you can see it. And is there a moment for you, even during a game, where you felt it?
I mean, for me, I definitely felt it last year, but that's because I was coming off a hamstring injury. Then the first game we played in, I was just trying to run. I was like, my legs are not there. So that was like a unique situation because I just came off of not running for 2 months and then went and played an NFL game. Like nothing happened. So I was definitely slower then, but even just coming back now, like my explosion, I still feel as explosive, but if I like look at the numbers, like I'm definitely a little bit slower than I used to when I was like a rookie. And I mean, it is what I'm 26 now. I'm like right at the backside or right in my prime, depending on what my body's like. We're all different, but right around that age where it's like, hey, this is the peak. Like, all right, so I'm right in it right now. Especially as running backs, we get hit so many times, right? So those hits start to accumulate, just injuries on your body, just bumps and bruises, like cartilage getting damaged, like just little accumulations of your body deteriorating that start to just get you closer and closer to that point where it's like, I got to hang it up, or you hit that wall and then you get cut.
So are you at this point, and obviously the answer is yes, because you're doing the Twitch, you're doing the podcast, you're doing the fantasy football show, and we'll get to your jersey giveaway in a second, but where are you in the process of thinking about life after football? Because obviously you're a good looking guy, you're articulate. Are you already thinking, hey, I'd like to potentially move into broadcasting, or hey, I'd like to potentially do eSports? Where are you in that thinking mode right now?
Ever since my second year, I've been thinking about it a lot, right? Because we have this huge off season, right? It's like, okay, how can I use the platform during my off season? And so the main theme behind my off season outlook is really just connecting with people, whether that's broadcasting, show here or there. I wouldn't be full-time broadcasting. I still have my foundation that I'm looking to implement resources to help people just learn skills that can help them throughout their lives, whether it's Gridiron Gaming Group, helping people connect through gaming, or whether it's a new project that I'm working on, is to just help connect people, right? Connect people. And if it takes me getting up and talking in front of people and trying to encourage people to do things and the benefits that they can get from it, that's where I would see myself talking and broadcasting. Other than that, I'm just like, if like hosting like a game and stuff like that, I probably wouldn't go into that as far as detail, because I feel like I just have so many different things going on. I wouldn't really give the credit that's due to actually like looking in and doing the research on these players and knowing all these people. Right now it's easier because I'm in the game, but after the game, it's going to be, how can I help my community and help people around me and try to leave this earth a little bit better than when I got here.
Let's talk about your jersey giveaway. I love what you thought up with this thing. So rather than me do a shitty job of explaining, I'm going to throw a ball to you.
Yeah.
You explain what you're doing.
Right. So I've been talking about connectivity, like how I like to connect. So I was like, how can I give a more of a thank you to the fantasy people than just saying no thanks, so I was like, let's do a giveaway. Like, let's do a legit signed Austin Ekeler jersey giveaway. And let's aim it towards, people that have me on their fantasy team. And so here's how it is for right now. As long as I'm still healthy for, the 17th week season, if you have me on your fantasy team, or if you start me on your fantasy team, basically take a screenshot of it, tag me in it on Twitter, tag me in on Instagram, and that basically enters you in. We might have like a specific tag that comes out right now. It's just hashtag Austin Ekeler at Austin Ekeler. And then after every single week, probably on Tuesday, because that's when the fantasy, week ends, we'll select a winner from one of those tags, and you'll be sent an Austin Ekeler signed jersey just for having me on your fantasy team, which you probably already have me on anyway. So, hey, a little bit more of an incentive to just show the love, and I really appreciate it.
All right. I want you to take ego out of the equation, and I want you to take being a good teammate out of the equation. And I'll put you on the spot here. Give me a round grade. So what round someone should be drafted in? I'm going to throw some names at you. You ready?
Ooh, a round grade. Okay. Let's see. We'll see how this goes.
Austin Ekeler.
1.
For real? That's pretty.
Austin Ekeler for 1. Drafting 1. Yes, I'm drafting. Yeah, you want to draft that guy week 1. Why do you want to draft this guy week 1? You want to draft this guy week 1 because he's a dual threat. So PPR leagues, he's going to be killing it for you. He's going to be catching the ball. That's easy points right there. And my efficiency is pretty crazy too. Probably one of the most efficient running backs with the ball in my hands, especially from passes. So that's a great combination. And obviously in the starting running backs, I want to be getting some carries as well. So just boom, dual threat as far as points coming in. Also, just even for me, I know last year, was a little curveball, but my durability has been off the charts because of the way I'm able to play, right? I have a split back usually. So usually I'm getting relieved. So I'm usually not getting as many carries, but still able to be consistent. When I do get on the field, the ball is a lot of times coming to me. So boom, get Austin Ekeler on your team.
Okay. I like it. How about Justin Herbert?
Justin Herbert, definitely 1. Because he's going to have Keenan Allen, he's going to have Jared Cook, he's going to have Austin Ekeler, he's going to have all these guys that are getting the ball in their hand, and he's probably going to be throwing to them. So easy points. These guys are creative after catch too. And we got some speed guys that have coming in. Justin Herbert has a massive arm, so some big play potential there as well.
Saquon.
Number one. Oh my God. Yeah. Round one. All these guys, I'm taking in round one.
Even coming off the injury, you think listen, I'm a Giants fan, full disclosure. So
okay. So here's the thing. Coming off an injury, yeah. He's still the same dynamic player that he used to be. Yeah, he came off of ACL. He's put his time in. He's a young guy, right? He's not in the back of his career, so he's still got the spark. He's still got that, hey, if I'm trying to still go make something out of myself. Yeah, he definitely went through a big injury, but guess what? Technology in our medical has come a long way. People are coming back from ACLs, on the regular. I've had teammates that have done it too. Hunter Henry came back and had a great season. So yeah, this guy is a freak of nature. Just look at this man and just the way he plays football. So yeah, definitely having him on if I can, boom, taking him 1-2.
Tom Brady.
I mean, he's the GOAT. You give me freebies. These are all freebies, right?
Yeah, but you can't go one because the problem is statistical guys.
Yeah.
Like you got to go Mahomes, Rodgers.
So yeah, I don't know about one because especially if you're in a PPR league, you're not going one with with quarterbacks. So even Justin Herbert, it's like, okay, maybe 2 or 3. Just because you're probably getting running backs, you're probably getting receivers in the first round. So it depends on what type of league you're in. But if I'm taking quarterbacks, yeah, if I'm late in the second round, I'm probably taking, one of those guys like, Mahomes, maybe Josh Allen, who's going to be running the ball too. But even Tom Brady, man, this man, he finds a way to get it done, right? He finds a way to score points with his guys. So definitely a late second round.
All right. I want you to walk me through the hardest hit you've ever taken in your football career. Walk me through
the hardest hit. Was definitely by Reuben Foster. Who was he playing for at the time? It might have been the 49ers.
Probably was because that's when he was his nastiest.
Yeah. Oh my God. So I caught like a little check down and I was running out to my left. And there was a corner that came up to try to like tackle me. And all of a sudden I get destroyed from the inside, which I kind of saw him out of the corner of my eye, but he hit me so hard that I got hit into the corner and both me and the corner went flying out of bounds. And I just remember like coming to a little bit, like kind of like, whoa, like, and just getting up off the ground, like, wow, like that just really hit me hard. Like a train just wrecked me. And it was just like, yeah, that was definitely the ultimate time that I was like, yeah, that one hurt.
How long do you feel something like that for? Are you bruised and just achy for days, weeks after something like that?
It depends. If something like that, where it's just like my body just gets like flung like really hard, that's not as bad. Who knows long-term effects? Hopefully, knock on wood, not not as bad on the brain. It's the ones that are kind of like just kind of look awkward that hurt more, right? Where it's like, oh man, he got hit in the ribs, or like he got his neck like pinched over, his leg looks wrong, right? Those are the hits that are like, maybe it's not as hard as a hit, but it's just like in an awkward position. Your body's just like getting tweaked and you like straining muscles. Like one time I just got like, it was just like a normal tackle, but this guy's helmet was like right in my ribs and I cracked one of my ribs, and that you feel immediately. It's like, oh my God.
There's nothing worse than the ribs, man. When you can't breathe, you can't sleep. I broke a rib playing basketball one time. I was like, this is the worst thing of all time.
Right. Right. Even just getting out of bed and just like, doing anything.
Before I let you go, I want to ask you about your nutrition and fitness habits. What do you do eating wise to get in your best shape and workout wise?
I would say eating is kind of become like a just routine for me, just as far as like I don't eat that many different types of meals. Like the meals that I eat is kind of boring, but I just like switch up the sauces. Like my go-to meal is turkey, rice, some black beans, and like some chunky salsa. Like that's my go-to. Like I love that meal. That's great. But like, and then I have a go-to breakfast, which is like some oats, eggs, a little bit of fruit, and then some like almond milk if in like maintain season, or like whole milk if I'm in like growth mode. So like I have a few like healthy foods that I like, and then I just stick to those. And it's just really consistent with them, and that becomes like my main diet. And as far as working out, it's about consistency, right? It's about consistency, like just going. For me, I've been doing it forever. And my goal has been to get stronger, faster. So I'm usually pushing a lot of weight, trying to do explosive workout routines. And I've been doing that for years now. And, I've seen the benefits now. I had 195 pounds, one of the strongest guy on my team, as far as strength in the weight room. So it's about consistency. I just going. I've been going for so many years now. So it just starts accumulating. It starts to become part of who you are as a person, as far as taking care of your body. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's weird to say as a football player, say, take care of your body, right? Because I'm out here destroying my body, but then building it up. So I get it. But as far as just general health, as far as, how you feel, definitely is consistency in your diet. And it's really hard too to get started. That's the hardest thing when you grow up and maybe you didn't have the best habits for your diet, is getting started and finding good foods that are good for you, that you actually like and you can consistently eat without going and cheating and, just like throwing in some excess sugar foods and chips and stuff like that with high fats and greases. It's like breaking the habit is the hardest thing. So if you could just literally just start slowly, right? Start slow. You're not going to change your, fitness outlook and health outlook overnight, or even in probably a few months. Like, it's going to take years, right? But you start slow and build yourself into it. And then you'll love the results when you do.
Awesome, man. This was a fabulous interview, Austin. Congrats on Ekeler's Edge. I love seeing what all of you guys and girls are doing off the field and off the court. It's a definition of endless hustle. And I love what you're doing with the jersey giveaway. Thanks for a great interview, man.
Awesome. Thanks, Arthur. I appreciate your time.
Great meeting you, brother.
You as well, man.
Take care.
Catch you later.